What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all had a great week so far. It is Friday when I'm filming this, so we are here at the weekend now, and it was a really cool idea for a video that I had. What would I buy in my collection again if I had to pay retail? I'm not saying that you should pay retail for these fragrances, because we all know we can get them cheaper from places like Joma Shop and trusted, eBay sellers and other discounting sites of that nature, which of course just depends on what kind of stock that they have at the moment. It's not something that they're always going to have every single thing that you want all of the time. But these are some of the ones from my collection that first came to mind that if I had to pay retail for them, these are probably the first ones that I would snag up. So probably not a surprise to a lot of people because of the quality and also the expense of the house. Boadicea the Victorious lot could be on this list from them. The two that first came to mind for me personally, as much as I love tobacco, Sapphire, Almas, Alcif, Valiant, all these other ones, Aqua Sapphire. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't particularly love blue fragrances, even though I do like the DNA. Just very common. They all kind of smell the same to a certain extent, and they're difficult to make unique and smell different in the air. And this is one of those exceptions, and I have heard all sorts of hilarious comparisons to this in order to try, oh, just save money, buy this one, save money, buy that one. I've heard this compared to so many different blue fragrances. And for me and a lot of other people that have Aqua Sapphire who have tried it, they just all fall short, not only in projection, sillage, how natural they smell, how long they last, but also how luxurious they smell. And Aqua Sapphire is definitely one of those fragrances that, even though it is very expensive, to a certain extent you definitely feel like you're getting what you pay for. And man, that fragrance, the longevity, again, the projection, development, sillage, how luxurious and natural it smells, the presentation, that would certainly be one of the first ones from my collection, and of course from the house of Boadicea, that I would rebuy. Now the second one, Hanuman, I mean, this one's like 1,100 retail or something like that almost in US dollars if you include tax and everything like that, but man. Now Boadicea, when you read the description of Oud Sapphire, it does say on their webpage that basically all of their fragrances contain oud, just some a lot more than others depending on the depth and the drama and the style of fragrance and how they want to create it. I can't really smell oud in either Aqua Sapphire or Hanuman, so perhaps they add a small amount of that and it's a cleaner oud just for complexity, development, and it's also a very good natural fixative in order to make fragrances last longer. But these two fragrances in particular, even though I love oud, you can't really smell them in there. And Hanuman is exactly what the perfumer and what the description says. It smells like a lush tropical forest. It's got woods, cassis, orange, I believe it's grapefruit. You just got these beautiful fruity, floral, woody, and green notes. Very musk heavy as well, but not overly heavy, just extremely well blended. Beautiful notes of vetiver in the base as well. So it's just one of those fragrances that is fresh, musky, woody, floral. But even for that category, I'm just shocked at how long this fragrance lasts, sticks around, develops, the sillage, everything like that. It's just incredible. And for the prices they charge, it should be, right? So those are definitely two from the house of Boadicea, even though there's probably 20 of them or more that I could have put on this list. Those are definitely two that came to mind first for me. So from the house of Xerjoff here, again, there's a lot of stuff I could put from this house. Just like every single house here, this is just kind of a first reaction video for me. Grab the first ones that came to mind. Ether is another great one. You guys know I love that. But Luxor, being a tobacco fan, it's got incense, cinnamon, cypre oil. I mean, it's just a very luxurious, beautiful oud tobacco incense fragrance. Incredible stuff, spicy, strong. Not going to be for everybody, like quite a few on here. But for me, if I had to pay retail for one of those fragrances from Xerjoff, Luxor would certainly be one of those. So unique and luxury, Woud and Mood Absolute. Very green, leather, and oud heavy. There's a lot more to this fragrance, but those are really what you get. The notes are incredible, the longevity. Again, it's one of those fragrances that it's very masculine, so when you wear this fragrance, you don't have to wonder if a man walked into the room. You can just smell this fragrance and know that a man is in the room. And for that reason, I really love it, but it is also one of my favorite from the house, and it's certainly worth the money in my opinion, especially if you're going to pay retail. and I would say a lot of people agree with me on this, but Unique Luxury is definitely one of those fragrance companies to where very strong fragrances, very polarizing, but also when you look at their retail prices for what you get anyway, they're certainly one of the better deals in niche perfumery in my opinion. So relatively new one for me, and I actually chose this over the regular Roja Parfums Oud. This is Amber Oud, and you guys know I love the regular Oud, but this was actually a little bit more expensive, and I love them both equally. Just so for the premise of this video, I chose Amber Oud, but this stuff is incredible, guys. Spices, fig, oud, ambergris. It's a very, very rich smelling fragrance with some sweetness, some spice. It's just as you would expect from the House of Roja. It's extremely well blended. It's one of those fragrances that seems to stick with you for a very long time. The base notes are incredible. It's one of those fragrances that as soon as you spray it on skin, that you know you're in for a special experience. And so far, everything I've tried from the house, even though this one is very expensive, that's part of the reason I chose it, because I have quite a few from this house. Diaghilev could have been on this list as well. But again, if I had to pay retail for one Roja Parfums fragrance, I think it would probably be Amber Oud. So now, Bond number 9. A lot of good stuff from the house of Bond number 9. A lot of not so good stuff from the house of Bond number 9. And with that, it's still one of my favorites. But one creation they absolutely got right, in my opinion, Bond number 9 Dubai Gold. This stuff is incredible. Slightly boozy, saffron, ginger, bitter orange, and blood orange in the top notes. They say raspberry jam on Bond number 9's website if you look at the video on the Dubai series, although they don't list it as a note in here. For me, that's kind of where that understated kind of fruity sweetness comes in the top with that ginger, brandy, saffron, bitter orange, all that stuff. And then you got a lot of wood and musk heavy along with patchouli. So it's really a musk, patchouli, and wood base heavy type of fragrance, which is one reason I love it, because it is absolutely nuclear in terms of its longevity, projection. It's one of those fragrances that as soon as you smell it, and as you would tell from the bottle being all gold and for $600 retail price, very similar to a lot of other these on the list. You know, it's one of those when you spray it, as soon as you smell it, you're like, man, this is a very, very thought out, expensive ingredient. You know, nothing was spared in this fragrance, and there was a lot of love and care put into this fragrance. And for me, as you guys saw from my last Bond number 9 video, it is the best from the house for me personally. Of course, everyone is going to have their own opinions, but that stuff is just dynamite. So if you haven't tried it and you enjoy those types of fragrances, 100% worth a try for you guys. So now, House of Argos, Neptune's Trident, Charon's Veil. We're talking about the more expensive fragrances from the House of Argos. But if I were to only have to rebuy one and pay full retail pricing for it, it would have to be the Triumph of Bacchus extrait, which is done at 40% oil concentration. Same exact as the regular Triumph of Bacchus. Even Christian Petrovic said this in a couple interviews. He never wanted to change the formula. He just wanted more Triumph of Bacchus. You make it stronger. Don't tweak the formula at all. Everything is the same proportion in the fragrance formula. It is just at a higher concentration, which I'm really glad they did. They didn't mess with it. The original Triumph of Bacchus already lasts an unbelievably long time. Great projection and sillage, mainly just because of the structure of the fragrance. It's something probably similar to Dubai Gold, of course Triumph of Bacchus, and even maybe Amber Oud, to where I would consider these, you know, very base heavy types of fragrances. It's one of those fragrances to where you have a lot of structure and depth in the base notes. So even the regular one does last pretty long because of that. And then you add the extrait concentration into that, plus the structure and the actual formula of the fragrance. And yeah, this stuff, 24 hours, 36 hours, it lasts on skin, even lasts after a shower. It's one of those fragrances, if I don't need it to last for more than 12 hours, then I'm just wearing the regular Triumph of Bacchus. So if I have a very busy day, I know I'm going out to dinner or something later like that, or maybe a date, work function, who knows, and I'm not going to go home, be able to reapply, change clothes or anything like that, that is when I will grab the extrait, because I know 16, 18, 20 hours later, this fragrance is still going to be going strong. And that could be said about this last fragrance here, which may be one of the strongest fragrances in the world. You know, you don't look at just the oil concentration, although 53% is very respectable and a very hefty oil concentration. But again, it's the structure and the ingredients in the fragrance alone. You know, the regular Interlude and Interlude Black Iris, they're already strong enough, guys. They really are. And then you take that same fragrance structure, that same fragrance DNA with the base notes, leather, a Pomponax, agar wood, all these sorts of things. This has got pimento berry and oregano in there as well. I don't have enough good things to say about this, guys. It's just absolutely perfect in my opinion. It's going to be too much for some people. I know a lot of people, this is their favorite from the house, and other people absolutely hate it. And for me, along with Silver Oud and some of the other heavier, very Amouage and Middle Eastern fragrances from the house, Interlude 53 is always going to be a top 1, 2, or 3 for me for the house of Amouage, just because of how representative it is of Amouage as a fragrance house in general. You know, when I think of Amouage, I think of fragrances like Silver Oud, King Blue, Interlude 53, Overture. You could even maybe throw the Old Goldman in there, which I believe they brought back. So that's kind of interesting. I know it wasn't really the most popular one, but it was one that was certainly on brand for the house. You know, it was very polarizing. Again, somewhat like Interlude 53. Some people really loved Goldman. Some people thought it was like, you know, their favorite masculine offering from Amouage. And other people just hated it. And for me, that's what's great about perfume, because if someone hates a fragrance that I love, for me, I don't look for validation in my fragrance purchase. I actually kind of like hearing other people don't like some of the fragrances that are my personal favorites, because it means it's just going to be that much easier and that much cheaper for me to find a backup bottle or replacement bottle down the road. So again, guys, not saying that you should pay retail. Of course, you should all be looking at better deals for these. I don't think there's a single one on here I paid retail for, other than the Argos. I think I got like their 15% discount on their webpage that they offered. So yeah, everything else I got pretty much at Joma Shop or secondary sellers on eBay. So make sure you do your homework when you're doing that stuff, not with Joma Shop, because they are 100% legit. But if you're dealing with outside sellers, like secondary sellers on eBay, buyer beware, buyer take care. Do your own homework. Of all the hundreds of fragrance purchases I've done on eBay over the years, I think I maybe had 2 fakes. I got a fake of a original Creed, original Santal back in like 2005 or 2006. I got a fake of that, got my money back, contacted eBay, and same thing, same story. I got a fake Boadicea Orica and Dragon. As soon as I got them in, saw the plastic crap on the front, sprayed the fragrances, realized they were nothing close to Boadicea. Of course, the packaging gave it away before I even sprayed it. And I did not spray them on skin, because who knows what was in that bottle. I sprayed them on a testing strip. But it's one of those things to where if you've been collecting and you've been buying these high-end fragrances, you know, you can be maybe fooled online by the packaging a little bit, because packaging is a lot easier to fake than the fragrance itself, especially, you know, after it dries down for 15-20 minutes. You might be able to replicate slightly the top notes of certain fragrances for a very cost-efficient way. But in terms of people actually getting fooled with fake fragrances, just speaking for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of my subscribers agree, I just don't know how that happens. I really don't. You know, if you're really unsure, get a decant or maybe buy a sample, pay the $12 or whatever it is for the sample before you buy it, so you know what the legitimate one smells like. But yeah, through all the years of experience for me, you know, I just don't, personally, I don't understand how people can actually get fooled with a fake and then get tricked into keeping it and then realize later that it's not correct. So packaging, easier to fake than it is the fragrance. So that's my advice to people. If you're hesitant about maybe buying from like a secondary seller from eBay, maybe buy a decant or a sample of what you're buying from that seller, so when you get that package in, you can spray them to compare and make sure, so you have peace of mind that you are getting 100% legitimate product. So hope you all enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. You guys know I don't ask that often, but I always forget, and it really does help the channel grow. So I'll see you guys soon, all right?